There's a community that exists, and even if the police were to roll over this place, the people will come right back, and the barricades will come right back up, and they're not going to be able to quash this space.
No justice.
No streets.
No justice.
No streets.
No justice.
No streets.
Let me tell you that the city killed a man. Yes. And that is why we are here. That is why the community is standing for justice and asking and demanding for justice.
This street does not belong to you anymore, City of Minneapolis. You're gonna have to negotiate. You're gonna have to give us some justice if you want that street back.
After George Floyd was murdered, the barricades went up and the demand went out. And those demands, the justice resolution, has played a very, very key role in establishing this as a space of protest and establishing this as an autonomous zone. That's been the reason the barricades stay up.
It's for holding the police accountable, it's for demanding justice, and it's also demanding structural changes and investments into the community.
It isn't any one individual demand, it is a collection of needs and wants from this community saying, these are the things that we need in order to move forward to heal. And it's just talking about the beginning steps. And so we're talking about merely $155 million over the course of 10 years, which is really not a huge amount of money when we're talking about the oppression and the systematic racism that has kept this community down from the beginning.
But we understand that this is not the beginning, neither is this the end to justice. Play your role. We're not asking you, we're demanding, play your role. Bring the resources. We have the healers, we have the teachers. Quit pimping us. Quit prostituting us. Expecting us to run into a burning building with a water gun. Give us the resources so that we can now heal our own land with our own bodies. People who look like us, sound like us, move like us, and think like us.
What can change, or what can be different, or what can be better, or what can happen where we're okay to opening up the streets if we say no justice, no street. And yeah, the 20 to 4 demands is here, but that's just a scratch on the surface, because that doesn't really say Black liberation.
GFS has utilized a partial demand very, very well to prop up the space. And it's a partial demand in the sense that it's not necessarily demanding the complete collapse of the world capitalist system. We say that we hold the space until the demands are met. And the city certainly does not want to meet the demands, and so they won't take back the space. So we're in a sort of crossfire.
They're gonna have to meet those demands before we give up 38th Street. We're not giving it up. 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 No justice. No streets.
One of the big things about how things are defeated beforehand, it's when you don't develop processes and systems that can continue to keep themselves up. At GFS, every day there's a meeting in the morning and a meeting in the night. And that has been one of the ways that community has really, really developed. And you look around here, you see bus stops turned into storage, bus stops turned into a people's closet. You see bookshelves going up. You see we've got a medical shed. We've got a greenhouse.
We've got a library. 612 MASH is a medic organization that operates out of the square. And there's this People's Way. This is a public space, it's a public meeting space, and it's a public space of a real community and joy and unity. And it's a sacred space, and it's a space of grieving and also of liberation. And so for people who are coming in here, people come from all over. It's almost a pilgrimage site in that way. I think it's something really to be said about how the common spaces and collectively maintained spaces have been eroded by capitalism. You can see this as a return of the commons in a lot of ways.
In the ruins of capitalism, we've built something new, and something that sort of leaders in the square, Marsha especially, has said before. This is a blueprint for how society can be, how society can be organized, how we can develop community and come here together and meet the needs of the community. Because every day there are people who are unhoused who will come here sort of to find sanctuary. They'll come here and they'll get fed, they'll get clothed, and they'll get resources to get housed. And that's a thing that literally the state has been unable to provide. And the fact that community has been able to come in and fulfill that role it spells out exactly why this is the way of the future and not the way of the state.
It looks like many things at many times a day if you've been in this square. But in all those hours of every day, it still looks like community. It's community.
I'm out here with my passion. I'm out here for my feelings, or because somebody else told me to, or somebody had to convince me to be out here, or somebody to convince for me to stay out here every day. No, I made up my mind when it all happened, and this is home. Like, look, this is home. I done ran down these streets.
In my first meeting that I came with a close friend of mine, I was instantly sold because how they embrace black people, especially the black man in this community, I mean, it's beautiful. I've never had a chance to experience this much black love in the area. No hatred, no undercutting. They just want to see the success of a black man here, and that's pretty much what brought me here.
What made me start was at the uprising, the space was filled with hundreds and hundreds of people. So I came out during the evenings, about 5-ish, and stayed till like maybe 6 a.m. or something like that. I barbecued right on the street every night at 9:45, especially when they broke out the curfew. When they broke out the curfew, that we had to be in the house at about 10 p.m., or we're gonna get a citation and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we ain't going home. Spark grills at 9:45, and barbecued until I ran out of food. Costly, very, very costly, because barbecue is not cheap whatsoever, but it kept the square fed at the time. Food makes people happy. Food brings people together. I didn't think I was gonna come out here and be feeding people for 6 months. No. I don't get paid for what I do. That's just out the genuine of my heart. Just like we needed to secure the space and make sure it needed to be secured. Until we find out exactly who's gonna do that all day, every day, I'll take some of my time.
If you're stationed on a barricade, it's keeping an eye out for the police.
We're gonna hold this down. They got an army, we got our own army. It don't matter. They wanna call this the United States. It's not the United States. We're not with the system. We are showing them how united we can actually be. So as of that, we're gonna be careful and be aware. And to be aware is to be alive. So be careful out here in every state, for real, and be well protected. And that's all I gotta say. Now I'm gonna have to watch out for everybody.
And it's, opening and closing for residents coming in and out. At certain barricades have like gates that we open and close so people can still get in and out of the space to their homes. We're not trying to inconvenience anybody. We have masks, bottled water, snacks, basic resources like this that we'll pass out to people and we'll greet people coming into the space. I think like the sort of first importance of this space is as a memorial, as a sacred space for grieving a black man who was murdered by the state. And I think it's also grown into a really powerful autonomous community of mutual aid, and really not just envisioning but enacting a community that is as free as we can be from policing and from the United States as a settler colonial fascist government.
GFS it's kind of the epicenter of an uprising, right? And it's been operating very well as a staging ground for other types of struggles that are ongoing in the area, whether that be stuff for Line 3, whether that be stuff in the housing movement, all types of racial justice movements. It's been sort of a center for activists all across the city.
There's many memorials in this space. The biggest ones are for George Floyd, but there's also the Street of Names and Say Their Names Cemetery, which are both really, really moving, large-scale testaments to the memories of lives stolen by the police. And there's also plenty of individual memorials. Murphy Ranks' memorial is down the street there. And honestly, there's so many that really shows the power of this space to hold testament to so many, as well as to George Floyd, first and foremost.
Because it ain't like we ain't got homes to go to. It ain't like we ain't got lives outside of the square, because we do. We're just learning how to maintain and juggle what life is and what the square is. Love you, babe.
No justice, no streets. If they want these streets, they gotta get into these demands. We got solidarity, y'all. We here. They want a little bit of street. They gotta give us a little bit of justice.